Over the past 6 months, I've grown 1/2 inch on my arms. But this is a big deal for me because I've been stuck at 19 inches for what feels like the last 10 years. A real 19, a cold measurement, no blood in the muscle, just wake up, pee, and then measure. And the reason I think it's so fascinating is because I haven't changed much. I eat the same 2 meals every day, either 10 ounces of chicken and 10 ounces of sweet potato, or a 1/3 cup oats, 10 egg whites, and a tablespoon of honey. I eat one until I get tired of it, then I switch. I am a child. My HRT and peptide therapy also haven't changed. A low dose of testosterone, BPC 157, HCG, ipamorelin, CJC. Shout out to Ways to Well. They even compounded me this copper peptide because I look old as shit. Now, I will say I've added a few more over-the-counter supplements, but let's be honest, these don't move the bottom line. If magnesium was the missing piece all this time, I would have been suitcasing those things years ago. God, that's the worst sound. The one thing that has changed, though, drastically, is how I train my arms. And I know people get frustrated because some of these things go against what I've said in the past, but would you rather me not tell you? Here's my process. I subscribe to what I feel are the most beneficial research reviews, as well as set up keyword notifications on PubMed, so the moment something crosses my eyes that I think is interesting, I integrate it into my own training, and if it works, comes back to you. All in an attempt to make your training more efficient, less frustrating, and hopefully avoid any potential injury. For example, don't masturbate with shampoo. You're welcome. The research surrounding the potential benefits of training a muscle at longer lengths definitely piqued my interest, specifically with triceps, because as you start to increase the weight and do lower rep sets, it's inevitable. You're going to flex everything from your lat to your taint to get the weight down. But if you're a little more thoughtful with your programming, then you could select exercises that not only allow you to train in that lengthened position, but also make sure that when you fail, it is just the tricep. And you could do this on anything from cables to dumbbells to a barbell. It's all going to work. Check out Henry. He's supposed to be working right now, but how's work, bud? And based on that research, I've also changed the way I train biceps as well. Previously, I would train in what I consider the effective range of motion. So not too low because I didn't want to risk any potential injury, and not too high because I didn't want to take pressure off the bicep. But I've since changed that because my logic was flawed, to say the least. I was a dumbass. I still only contract up to the most difficult part of the movement, not allowing myself to rest at the top, but now I actively force the stretch. Now, whether we're causing more growth because we're now forcing that bicep to train at a longer length, or maybe because we're changing the range of motion, we're getting more regional hypertrophy at the distal end, I don't fucking know. But I am certain this is the more effective and safer way to train because the evidence shows that you get stronger in whatever range of motion you train with. And I know some people are gonna freak out because I used to be the king of partials. I still do them, but in a stretched position. So it looks like that, or like that. That's also neat. This bad boy takes forever to charge. Another thing I've been really focusing on is progressive overload. And I know some people are going to say that's your big aha moment. Welcome to what is equivalent to the 3rd grade of Iron Elementary School. Who doesn't know about progressive overload? It has more to do with how methodical I am with my programming, meaning I now break my training up into blocks. Block 1 is where I progressively overload with heavier weight, lower rep range, 6 to 10 reps, and I consistently push to try to increase the weight each week. Now, normally this is where after a period of time, people will deload, but I also train so I don't kill anybody, so I don't do that. I just increase the volume, drop the weight, and just do higher rep sets and overload that way. Gives my joints time to rest, but also it's just a different stimulus. Now, if this is something you're gonna try to implement into your own training, there's a couple things I want you to watch out for. The first one having to do with how you fail. You're gonna have to fight against your dumb self. As I've been developing the new program, I've been testing it on people, and what I found out is they have unique ways of screwing things up. Specifically with those heavier weeks, as they're doing curls and they start to fail, instead of just letting the bicep fail, they get halfway up, stop, and then hump it the rest of the way. Don't do that. Your goal should be to let the muscle you're trying to target fail, not bounce it off your dick. The second thing is, even though you're using progressively heavier and heavier weight, don't sacrifice volume. I've seen the best results by using a hybrid of the two. Bit of an Accutane fish baby. People always give me a hard time because I don't just pin it to my shirt. Does that sound good to you? Or does that sound good? It's hard enough to understand me as it is. Just let me hold this little prick. Meaning that when most people train heavy, they do 2 sets of 6. I, on the other hand, will do 4 or 5 per exercise. And yeah, by that 4th or 5th set, you might have to drop the weight, but your body doesn't know the difference. We're just training this way because it increases mechanical tension. As long as we note that going into our next workout, then we have something to improve upon. That's all that matters. Lastly, be very careful with your exercise selection. There's some exercises that I just don't do anymore, like drag curls, which sucks because I still love drag curls. But it's hard to justify when you see studies that look at the growth of the biceps comparing regular bicep curls versus rows, which rows are just a drag curl and an angle. It's not even close. It sucks. So to recap, if you want to make your training more efficient and actually grow your arms, make sure you select exercises that allow you to train at longer lengths, progressively overload, but for a period of time until you can't take it anymore, and then instead of deloading, just train with lighter weights and do higher reps. And finally, get rid of shitty exercises like drag curls. Also, the new program drops in exactly 2 weeks, and I think everybody's gonna love it because you can easily track your weights, the videos loop and make sense, and also I'm gonna drop consistent content that everybody's been asking for, like how to properly get your macros or the do's and don'ts with hormone replacement and peptide therapy, whatever you bastards want.